Hello and welcome to my ninth episode in the Christmas calendar series of 2023. It's logical, and what I did in last episode, or what I didn't do in last episode, is to uncover what actually was wrong with my circuit, but several of my viewers actually have noticed, and Tommy at Arctic Retro was first. I did actually do the cardinal mistake of connecting the ground wire to the positive rail on the breadboard. And of course, these things happen, and it's very, very difficult to discover faults on your own board. That's why I took every lead out and tried again. And I actually tried again one more time without disconnecting the power leads, because the power leads are always right. Yeah. So when I took away too much of the wires and I had to reconnect the power, of course I got it right, and then bought the truth table for the 7400, and the rest of the XOR circuit was working as it should. But this time is something different, and this is something that's called sequential logic, as opposed to only combinational logic that we have done before. So let's crack on with this. This is a fairly long one. The next one will have to be shorter, otherwise I can't continue with this release schedule. Hi and welcome to my episode 9 in my Christmas calendar series, the December. And up until now we have talked about gates and logic, and combinatoric logic is the common term for this. And what I mean by that is that if you take an ordinary gate, let's say we start with an OR gate. Yeah, we can take an OR gate. We are going to need that later on. If you just take a gate like this, and we say that we have something happening on the output, it happens immediately. So when we do something here, it happens immediately. And when we take away the signal or the pattern that we have here, it changes immediately here and nothing is stored. There is no trace that we have done something on this logic chip, except if we burn it, of course. But normally it's momentarily value. It what happens in the moment, and it's no storage. But what we're going to look at now is what's called sequential logic. And that's sequential. I think that goes right. Now is something missing. It's missing an E inside here. Sequential logic. And this is logic that happens in a sequence, or actually can store something and keep the result afterwards. And that means something, that it's acting as a switch. If I have this switch here on my breadboard, this switch I'm doing so, and it's keeping its value. It's not springing back to the original position. If it had been springing back to its original position, it wouldn't store the result. So when I move this switch from 1 to 0, I actually store the result in the switch. So this is a sequential logic. Because of the force I put on this, it will keep its state. And that is sort of what we are going into today. And the simplest form of memory there is something called an RS flip-flop. And if you take two gates like so, and you do some fishy business here, you connect this one down here, and you connect this one up here, and then you will have two inputs that are not inputs anymore. We can take them away. And we are going to do this like so. And normally on this kind of gate, we name the inputs a bit differently. And namely we call them R, S, like so. And we drop the gates like so. And I take this one here like so. and this is an open ring, not a clodunge like that. And I call these R and S for reset or set. And then I'm going to call this the Q and not Q, or Q inverted. And the theory is that when this gate is going like so, it will, actually this is wrong. If I take this the right way, when I do the reset, this actually will go low and stay low, and on this one it will go like so, like high, and they will of course follow the same time pattern. So if I'm going to draw up a truth table for this, it will be something like this. And here I say something because I'm also going to take the R, S and Q not, like so. And I can also take the output from the NOR gate and put it here so that we can follow this. 0, 0, and what is happening on the Q? Nothing. Sorry, this was kind of a bad idea. If I take just the Q here, I will be able to put this out better, because this will be better described as no change, and 0 on the R and 1 on the set is putting a 1 here, or set. And this combination where you have 1 on the reset will tell no or reset, and this combination here is not allowed because that will give an undefined output. So if we combine this with the gate from the NOR gate, you can see that in itself the NOR gate will give this kind of result, because you are taking the output here and chaining it back to here. You actually get it to keep its state, and this is the simplest form of memory there is. Sorry, it was a bit confusing with this, but this should actually be the same timeline. I don't know what went wrong today with this. And we are going to make these circuits on the breadboard, but we are going to do so by doing it with NAND gates, like we did before with the 7400, where we used this to make our XOR gate. We are going to use the same chip. And how we do that, I'm going to quickly draw a principle of this here. And a NOR gate is essentially a NAND gate that also has inverters on these signals here. So if I'm going to do the simplest inverter, I'm just going to couple these two together, and then I'm taking the next gates and I just do this trick here, and like so, and like so. And then I'm going to have the R and the Q and the R and the S. Sorry, today my head is not with me. And I have the Q inverted down here. And this is made by a 7400 chip. And that will be our work for today, to see that this is actually working. Sorry for all the nonsense and use of the eraser. Yeah, I have to redo some of the stuff I do, but hopefully you did understand the basics of this, and at least I'm going to show you how this works real time. Here we have our circuit from yesterday, and it's one thing that is missing here, and that is actually a push button. What we're going to use is this keyboard switch, where I have soldered on some longer leads. This has been bent in storage, I think, but I do think it's still going to work just fine. And I plug it in like so, and I have a push button. And of course, for this we need one more of these. And I have chosen these switches here that are tactile, and they are clicky, so that you can hear them. But these switches is not immune to making prell, and that is when a contact, when you are hitting a switch like so, it will always bunch somewhat. It will not make contact at once. So there will be some glitches in this when you have some spikes and stuff when you are attaching a switch like this. But we are going to try without any capacitors or other tricks to make these switches good. Actually, the flip-flop kind of thing is also a trick to make the switches more immune to what's in Norwegian called prell. I'm not sure if that's the right term for it, but it's when the switch is bouncing on the contact material, there is making noise when it's shifting from not closed to closed position. And we are going to start anew. This time I'm not going to take away all the power leads. We know that this was working when we started. And these switches, when we are doing this, we are switching them actually on with high. So I'm going to put these switches straight to 5 volt on one side. And here we choose this side. And that also means that I'm going to connect the two gates on this side, both the inputs together, like so, to make this inverter here. And from one of the switches, it's going to go like so. And from the other of the switches, it's going to go like so. Now we have connected the inputs here, and now we are just going to connect up this other block. And one of the outputs should go to the input on this gate up here, and the other output should go to one of the inputs on this one up here, like so. And then it's some more shortcutting again, because I need the output of this to go to the other input on this one, and that is that connection. And I need a similar connection here, where I need the output of this one, like so, to go to the output of this one. I took the output of one and put to the input of the other, and the output of this one, and connected to the other input on this one. Yeah, something like that. And I of course need an output, and I might couple up one more of these, so we are not only showing high, but for the moment we are doing like so. And this yeah, it really doesn't matter much. Yeah, another example of something that's not working out of the gate. I'm just missing a wire here. Yes, and what I've actually done wrong or forgot is that in this truth table here you actually have one illegal situation, and that is not allowed on 1 and 1 on the RS. And what is happening here? Yes, I have hooked this to high, but what happens when these are not high? They are dangling. So this output here is actually not connected to ground. So what I need to do, I need to have this connected to ground. And I can do that here, and so, and if I can fit the space, it's this one and this one. Then both these wires should be connected to ground when they are not in use. And then you can see this is working as it should. So that was actually my fault. I forgot to add the drop down or pull down resistors. So this circuit here should now actually look like this. I have clamped this to ground. Yeah, and I'm using the same 2.2K that I used on this circuit over here. It's no good reason that I'm doing that. It's just that I have lots and lots of these resistors. It could have been a 1K, it can have been a 3K, because there is not much power going into this this input. It's only 1 milliamp or something, and or 5 volt 1K is not a small resistance. So then we have our circuit here where we actually have stored a bit, but this is just toggling. You can't use this for any very good purpose, but of course this is an on-off switch. So if you have something that you want to digitally control with the push buttons on and off, you do now have the circuit. So I think that's it for the breadboard today. Yes, how about that? We actually got this thing to work. And what I did now to forget the pull down resistors actually was kind of a trick, because I of course had remembered them, but I thought this was an important lesson to learn about floating open gates and what you have to do to make sure that you start with your right, that you don't have floating inputs that can give you unexpected results. So hope you liked this one. We are going to continue a bit more with flip-flops tomorrow, and then we are going to talk about the next step up on this level. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.